Now, recently, the question of how religion is taught in schools has become a thorny subject.
Yeah, this month, one family in Belfast got High Court permission to challenge laws requiring faith-based Christian education in Northern Irish schools.
Scotland currently offers teaching in RME, that's religious and moral education. And in Welsh schools from September next year, RE, religious education, will be renamed RVE, that's religion, values and ethics, due to a new law requiring humanism to be taught on an equal footing with established religions.
Whilst many have welcomed the change, head teachers of all 84 Catholic schools in Wales have written to the government asking it to rethink the changes, saying they strike at the very identity of Catholic schools.
So today we're asking, what role should religious education have in our schools? And here to discuss the issues are Education Campaigns Manager for Humanists UK, Ruth Wareham, CEO of National Association of Teachers of Religious Education, Fiona Moss, Bishop Michael Nazir Ali and journalist Ella Whelan. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
So, Bishop Michael, as we mentioned, Wales is changing RE to religion, values and ethics. Do you believe that sort of wide ethical and social questions, for example, questions around race and racism, should be taught for RE lessons?
Well, I mean, there are all sorts of places where those kinds of questions can be taught. They can be taught in history, in social studies, in personal, social and moral education. I don't think RE should be diluted in any way, though, of course, moral issues arise in the teaching of RE, and that's perfectly right for them to be tackled there.
Fiona, you're the CEO of the National Association of Teachers of Religious Education and a Christian. Surely religious studies should be about religion, shouldn't it?
Absolutely. And of course, it is about religion. It's about religious and non-religious worldviews. It's about equipping people with the knowledge they need to interact with other people. It's about what it means to be human. So we've got to understand the religious perspective that Bishop Michael and I have as Christians, but we've also going to understand how that affects how we want to live our lives. Michael's beliefs, my beliefs, the beliefs of other religious and non-religious people affect how we want to be human, how we live our lives. So of course we're going to deal with moral and ethical ideas, and RE, frankly, has already done that for all the time I've been teaching it.
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it, Ella? It's a step forward that RE is beginning to tackle these kinds of social issues, seeing as they're happening all around us. We're equipping our young generation to deal with all sorts of things in the world.
I think it's difficult because, you know, I remember from learning, from studying RE at school, that it wasn't exactly comprehensive. And I think there's so much that even people who don't believe in God, like myself, can learn from different religions. It gives you an insight into the world of the arts. It can give you an insight into, I mean, so much of human history has been based around or influenced by religion. It's a very important subject. And I'd be very nervous about watering that down, as I think is suggested, to bring in a whole load of other stuff. I mean, I remember we had religion and citizenship classes at school, which I actually would have preferred just spending more time learning about Judaism and Sikhs and all the rest of it so that I had more rounded knowledge. I think part of the problem is if you have, for example, things that are suggested like classes on white privilege or classes on Black Lives Matter or racism or feminism or LGBT rights, whatever it is, then you stray into the realm of giving kids lectures on what they should think, what's right to think, rather than opening up a discussion about politics. Why not have, for example, informed time, as 15 minutes where kids read the papers and talk about it? There's a lot of tension about political influence in schools at the moment, internationally and in this country. And I think that trying to force moral lectures down kids' throats is going to cause problems. Open discussion about anything, religion, ethics, that's to be welcomed.
Ruth, should religious education just be about religion? Aren't we just watering it down if we throw all sorts of other things in there? What do you think as a humanist?
Well, good religious education, as Fiona has already mentioned, already includes lessons about religions, but also looks at non-religious worldviews like humanism. So the point of religious education is to get children to explore different religions and beliefs, to make them think about different ethical and moral questions, to enrich their knowledge of history and culture and geopolitics, and to enhance their critical thinking. And all of that works with religion, and it works with non-religious worldviews. And the fact is that we're in a society now where 52% of people, according to the most recent British Social Attitudes Survey, are non-religious, and that number actually rises to about 70% in the 15 to 24 age group. So if we want religious education to be relevant to our children and young people, we need them to see their own beliefs reflected in it. But of course, it should always be explored in that objective, neutral way, and that should be the case for all of the issues that it looks at, including religion. And that's one of the reasons why we oppose faith-based RE, which actually seeks to impose one perspective over another.
Well, Bishop Michael, I mean, you were shaking your head through the whole of that answer. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I think RE will be diluted if we bring in worldviews into it. There's already very limited time. Religion is making a huge comeback. I don't know where these figures come from, but worldwide, we are global citizens. And even The Economist had a cover page saying God is back. Well, he hadn't gone anywhere, but maybe The Economist thought he had.
But you're talking worldwide. What about in the UK? I think you're both sort of, you're not talking about the same currencies here, are you?
Yeah, even in the UK, the growing diversity of our population, we have people from many different religions. And I think it would be irresponsible not to equip our children to be citizens of the world and of this country, to understand what their neighbors and those in the world believe. Religion is not like a worldview. Religion has ritual, it has worship, it has moral codes, it has ways, lifestyle. Worldviews are ideas which I'm absolutely convinced that they ought to be taught, but not in RE. I mean, there are, I think Ruth has just said.
OK, Bishop Michael, because I want to get other people in, but I just want to pin you down on this. Currently, state schools have a locally agreed RE curriculum, whilst faith schools and other academies can set their own. Shouldn't there be a national curriculum so everyone is taught the same thing? I mean, even just the four of you have all got different opinions on this. There needs to be sort of one common view of how we teach RE, isn't there?
No, I think it is very important for local faith communities to be involved in the development of syllabuses for RE. There can, of course, be a template, a national template. There are national associations of people teaching RE and advising on RE who can consult on consistency and consonance. But I think to exclude local faith communities from developing syllabuses for their own children in their own community, that would be a mistake to exclude them.
Fiona, do you agree?
So it has been the law since 1944 that RE has to be taught in all schools. The issue we've got is lots of schools, and actually it's schools without a religious designation that this happens most in. In year 11, in just under 50% of schools without a religious designation that are academies, there's no RE going on for those pupils. A national curriculum actually won't solve that problem because those schools don't have to follow the national curriculum. So what's key is that there are guidelines, and there are guidelines out there, but also that the law is kept. And I was really pleased to see in the recent Ofsted report that was reiterated, that RE is such a vital subject to equip people with the knowledge they need to go out into both our British society and our global society. And I also felt a false binary being set up a little earlier with the idea that learning about religions and learning about non-religious worldviews would mean we'd learn less about religions. That's not my experience at all. Just also needs to pick up on the stuff about white privilege because NATRE, the National Association of Teachers of RE, have had a little bit of a rough ride because of a media article 2 weeks ago that Bishop Michael was quoted in, where our resources were entirely misrepresented and we do not tell schools to teach white privilege to 8 to 11-year-olds. So we've had a very rough ride when we've been inappropriately placed. I was very disappointed, and it was lovely to be able to put Bishop Michael and everyone else right on that. RE is a great subject for debate, though, and we want those debates to happen in a knowledge-rich manner. And the RE classroom, where we've got knowledge about non-religious and religious beliefs, all those rituals Bishop Michael was talking about, is the place to have those informed conversations, a safe space for dangerous conversations sometimes.
So, Ella, faith schools, which make up a third of our state schools, are able to choose what they teach in RE. Is that worrying?
No, I don't think so. And that's coming from someone who doesn't believe in God. And, I was brought up in went to a Catholic primary school. I then went to a Church of England-based grammar school, and suddenly thought, oh, God, none of these people know how to pray properly, and had a bit of a crisis. And then found politics and realised that actually I didn't have any trouble with religion whatsoever, and that I wanted to find meaning in the here and now. But what I'm trying to say is that kids, I think we panic a little too much about how kids are going to be socialised or how they're going to shape meaning. And I think we often use education as a kind of as in this instrumental way of trying to shoehorn kids into a certain way of thinking. I mean, that's why I mentioned the white privilege thing, because from, documentaries like The School that tried to end racism to all other discussions about how education is used to kind of to enforce certain political views is, I think, a problem. But with faith schools, I think it comes down to the conflict between parental authority and the authority of schools and teachers, because parents should have the right to be able to instill their children with the values that they hold. And when you go out into the world as a young person, you start to realise that maybe you don't believe the same things as your parents, and that's fine.
Ella, I'm going to cut across because, Ruth, we haven't got long. In what ways can the changes seen in Wales's RVE, this new curriculum, help children going into society? We really haven't got long, so really brief on this, please.
Well, I think by reflecting their own beliefs, which may be religious or non-religious, so they see themselves in that subject, and by giving them an insight into what people who don't believe like they do think about the world, it's got a huge sort of influence on improving things like social cohesion, in understanding of the world. And I think that is a great way for Wales to be moving forward.
OK, it's really good to talk to you all. Thank you very much indeed.